Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. It's April 9th. I just wanted to come on after the last couple weeks and just give a little note for those of you who might be having a harder time. I've alluded to in some of my posts with the spring energy this year. It's pretty strong. It's pretty thick astrologically. A lot of our planets are in the same sign, so it's pretty strong in general. And I just wanted to reflect back some of the things I've been reflecting back with patients that maybe would be supportive to you. A year ago, around this time, and we were well into lockdown at this point, and we were probably still in a period where we were questioning what really was going to be going on. We were wondering if we would get sick. We were wondering if we did get sick, if we would make it through. We were wondering if people around us would survive. We were wondering if food was going to be secure. We were wondering if we were going to have our jobs or be able to put food on the table, whether we were going to be able to get toilet paper, whether, the world was ever going to go back. And here we are a year later. And in a lot of ways, what happened last year never went away. It just became something that has continued through. And we've gone through many stages, and we've had a lot of different things that have opened up and come through over the year. A lot of old wounds, let's call it, have come up, which is what I wanted to bring about today. So one, this type of energy in the spring, we're coming out of winter where we're much more internal and we are in a much more reflective place, because that's what the season is here for. It's when the seed is germinating and below the surface and is contained, and with itself, its energy is not moving outward, it's going inward. Spring is the opposite. It's about going out and upward. And as you can start to see, at least here in the Northeast of the United States, things are starting to come up and out of the ground. Some flowers are being seen. Some of you in different areas of the country, I'm sure, are starting to experience pollen loads and having allergies and stuff up in the head. Well, in addition to the physical symptoms that tend to come up with allergies that are coming down from below and out, we do have emotional responses that come with this energy too. That's typical for the season, but I think for this season, it's pretty, it's more remarkable. So I try to alert people to a lot of repressed anger and just repressed emotions, but specifically around in the vein of anger, irritability. That is probably coming up for you potentially in a stronger way than normal. And these last few weeks, the energy has been high. I know for me, it's been harder to wind down, at an hour that I normally would. I find there's a lot of energy circulating. I'm wanting to, do more work and explore other things, but I'm also noticing places and things that are really irritating me. So I know I'm not the only one. And I think a lot of that has to do with we're now, as we're moving back out into the world in some ways, at least from a seasonal perspective, we're going to be outside more and seeing each other maybe a little bit more. We've been through so much that some of us are looking for the evidence of what's changed. Some of us are still looking within us to see what has changed. And then there's some of us that are really just not ready to come back out into the world just yet because we don't feel ready to be in a world that is still unsure of itself in a lot of ways. And all of these things are normal. And I just wanted to put that out there. Today in particular, there is a conjunction happening in astrology between Mercury, our planet of communication, and an asteroid called Chiron, which is otherwise known as the wounded healer, the symbol of the wounded healer. And so I have noticed that's a lot that's been happening, at least for me. A lot of old wounds over the last month have sort of been coming up. And whether that has to do with my relationship to the divine masculine, or in this world, men, whether that has to do with my role as a healer, whether that has to do with my role within my family, whether that has to do with my role within myself and my own spirit and soul work. So a lot of that has been coming up for me. And what has been helpful, I should say, and what has worked is, one, talking about it, but two, leaning into it, like leaning into the emotion that is really trying to come up. there's a lot of things that we stuff down, and we've been stuffing down since we were kids. Things that our inner child just had to push down because it was either inappropriate to talk about at some point in history, or it was something that was not welcomed in the environments we were in, particularly if those environments were just not safe. Women are going through an experience right now where I do believe a lot of old wounding is coming up, and anger is coming up because, we had like the Me Too movement, let's say, just a few years ago, which brought to light this experience that a lot of women or people who identify as being a woman have experienced through their life. And so there was acknowledgement. But now we're all looking for the evidence that the acknowledgement has really been integrated into our society, that the world, the society at large is responding with things like maybe equal pay, maybe with equal representation, maybe with the level of respect any woman should get, in relationship to what men have gotten. The way we're spoken to, the way we're related to. I had an incident earlier this week. I kind of got tangled in a web online with someone, and I just noticed this anger coming out of me towards them because I could hear what felt like them trying to belittle me. And I realized that there's a part of me that will not accept that anymore. And women will then typically be looked at as bitches, or we're too much, or it's inappropriate. But it's not. It's really not. This is actually healthy release at this point for some of us, as there's a quote out there, like, let's just be grateful that women don't want revenge. They just want things to be equal. And I'm not here to bash men at all. That's actually contrary what I want to actually say. We all have the divine masculine and feminine in us, and men really have been as wounded as women in our culture for a variety of reasons, and not, have been as shut down. So, and not able to express themselves appropriately. So we're really in this like chaotic soup of movement. And I feel that there has been so much repressed by everyone in so many different ways. And now it's trying to come up. And so you may be feeling uncomfortable. You may be feeling unreasonably angry about some things or irritated. And I just wanted to come on to let you know that that's probably appropriate. But it does mean it is good to try to find healthy ways of releasing that, whether that's in physical movement or connecting with someone you truly trust, maybe matching up with a counselor or therapist, maybe getting acupuncture, maybe, getting your hands out in nature and just connecting with the earth and creating some relatedness for yourself so you don't feel caught up in the emotions and at times saying things maybe you don't mean, which is easy. And guess what? Just forgive yourself for it. It's part of being human. We tend to try to be perfect, and then we just keep repressing. So it leads to the same issue. But just knowing that today this conjunction, and when a conjunction is happening, it's when two planets are on top of each other. So the asteroid of Chiron is on top of Mercury. And so I do feel like we're going to be feeling this push to heal our inner wounds. And so I just wanted to invite you to be kind to yourself and to lean into it. And for me, what's been helpful is to walk and to sit and meditate and really feel in and ask, what are these emotions here to teach me? Because they're here for you. They're not here against you. We have this really interesting way in this world of thinking we're supposed to all be happy. Or if we're depressed or anxious, like there's something wrong with us. But no, these are natural aspects of who we are. It's the shutting down of those things and not allowing them to be expressed that tends to turn into a bigger problem, a chronic problem later on. So I wanted to wish you well today and then through this weekend and in this early spring period where you probably are going to be dealing with more than typical. And a lot of movement will be happening around you, and your body will be adjusting to that. So just go easy on yourself. Don't forget to rest. And also don't feel like you have to put yourself out there if you're not ready just yet. If you just need to be more quiet and internal, do that. There's no right way. I just wanted to acknowledge the energetics and the natural things that come with the season so you could adjust yourself so that feels, better and more supportive, for you at this time. So with that, happy spring, happy bringing up your repressed anger and emotions, and have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.